Hey, Women in the Battle. I'm Kristen, and I want to talk to you about the big D's of sexual betrayal recovery. So there's two big D's. There's discovery and disclosure. Discovery is when you find information about your husband or your partner's sexual acting out. For example, maybe you find an email from some other woman, or you find a link to a pornographic website on his computer. So that's a discovery where you maybe then go to him and say, hey, what is this? A disclosure, there's two different types of disclosures. One type of disclosure is where your husband comes to you and volunteers information about his sexual behavior. And then there's also the therapeutic disclosure, which is where you ask your husband to sit down with some sexual addiction professionals, a therapist or a coach, somebody who has specific training in how to help couples that are going through sexual betrayal trauma recovery. The person with the addiction or with the infidelity prepares a statement of all the different categories of acting out that have happened over the years that they've been together. And some professionals will have the addict prepare a statement of all their sexual history from their earliest memories. There's some really specific categories that should be included in a good therapeutic disclosure polygraph process. One of those categories is how much money has been spent on their addiction or their acting out or their affair partners over the years. What types of sexual behavior have occurred? Have there been other people that they've had sexual relationships with? Were they romantic relationships or purely sexual? Was it paid or not paid sexual experiences? Were there strip clubs, prostitution, pornography, chat rooms? So there's a whole gamut of sexual behaviors that can have occurred in secret. And so as the partner, it's up to you to determine what level of detail you would want in a therapeutic disclosure. I find a lot of partners in the very beginning want graphic levels of details. And the reason for that, I believe, is because we just can't really grasp the fact that this really happened. It's just too shocking and unbelievable. And especially if you never walked in on him or saw a video of him acting out, it's difficult to believe and imagine that what he's telling you happened really happened. So we often want details so that we can actually wrap our brain around the reality of it. The other reason I think we want details is because we wonder, what is it that this other woman had that I don't have? Did she have larger breasts? Was she thinner? Was she more curvaceous? Really, it's not about that. It's about him being sick. It's about him having an addiction. So oftentimes those graphic details that we ask for are not helpful. However, some women, even after thinking about it deeply and processing it with their support people, their therapist, their coach, some women decide, no, I need some of these details. And that should be given to her if that's what she decides she really needs over time. A disclosure can take a couple months, depending on how long the addict has been acting out and how many types of behaviors they've had, and also depending on what level of denial they're still in when they start their disclosure process. Ladies, I'm going to tell you that unless your husband or partner has had a significant amount of time where he has not been acting out, the chances that you know everything are slim to none. Addiction and lying go hand in hand. And I have yet to meet a man who was completely forthcoming to his wife on his own without a therapeutic intervention. And typically the idea of being polygraphed after a disclosure can be a huge motivation for a man to be like, okay, I have to come clean. There is going to be massive consequences if I don't. My wife will know that I've lied because I've taken a polygraph. So we do polygraphs on the heels of disclosure, not to try to catch him in a lie, or her, if the person who's been doing the acting out, the infidelity, the sexual addiction is a woman. I tend to use the term him because this is Women in the Battle. So for most of us, it's a man that's done the sexual betrayal. The polygraph can be really helpful for you to know that you are going to get the truth in the disclosure, and the polygraph will give you that final reassurance. Okay, yeah, he's been honest with me. You know what? He needs that too. And he cannot recover from his addiction if he is not honest. So not only can the disclosure provide you with safety or the start to make a road to safety because you finally have the truth and there's no more hidden landmines out in front of you where you're going to discover more information, but it can also set him free because the truth is what he needs to set himself free and to help snap him out of the serious level of denial and minimization that he's lived with in order to have this addiction and try to act like somebody who doesn't have these sexual secrets. And that's how he's been able to stay in relationship with you, is by suppressing and pushing away and minimizing those secrets. So as horrible as the therapeutic disclosure process is, as horrible as discovery days and further disclosure where your husband or your partner tells you more information are, if you can get the right support, the right professionals and groups and women surrounding you to help you through this process, this is actually potentially the beginning of a journey towards freedom and joy and liberation that you may have never even thought possible. So I want to give you hope and know that with these tools and resources, you can find true, real life beyond the betrayal.